All right. Okay, what you're looking at here. The last couple days we've been working on theorems, postulates. You should probably go back and check some of those out in your textbook or your notes that we've been doing the last couple days, because you will have a homework assignment in the book on that stuff probably tomorrow. Today we're going to be mostly focusing on the algebra part of this, because I said every day this week I want to do some form of algebra, right? Yesterday we did a little bit of algebra near the end of class. The day before that, same thing. Today I want to start with it. I know that's going a little backwards, but I want to start with this today to give us the most time for this today. Okay, we did, I think, number 1 on Monday, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we discussed how to do this, how to correctly do a distribution property. It takes 3 steps. We talked about, the rules that you have to do. You have to distribute, you have to change the parentheses, which is associative, then you have to simplify. We're going to look at number 2 today, and number 3, because this is like mixing them together now. Because I think we've done enough examples that people can actually figure this out now. I'm going to zoom in here in a second. Number 2, if you want to write this down, it does take you 3 steps. So if you want to write that off to the side that it takes you 3 steps for number 2, that's fine. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. But I'm going to zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. Alright, so it will take us 3 steps to do number 2 here. Alright, so now, doing number 2, the first step, we have to move like terms together because there's no parentheses. What is that called when you move things around?
Commutative.
Commutative. Alright, so number 1 step, and I don't even care how you do it, move the like terms that you think look the same together. And notice that the 10 is technically negative. You're subtracting 10, so it's a negative 10. So I'm moving them around. The only term that does not have a common term is that x one, the 8x. It's a different letter. It's just by itself. You really can't do anything with it. I don't care the order you put it in. I'm not that super picky person. It's like, oh, the x's have to go out front. No, I don't care. If you want to put the negative 10 and 7 out front, you put it out front. Alright, but that's commutative, so you can write that down. Commutative is, the root word there is to commute. It's to group and move. It's like if you commute to work in a bigger city, you group, move. Okay. Alright, now, the second line. Most people do the first line right. Maybe you forget the property name, but you group and move them together. The second line is the part that people forget. They just want to immediately go into like, oh, that's 7x, and there's a negative 3 in the back. Like, you're jumping. What do we have to do with the w's?
Factor them.
Factor it. Okay, so we got to factor out the w out of the back. So that means that you're going to basically take the w like this. This is what factoring is, or reverse distribution, however you want to think of it. It's taking the w out so the numbers can literally see each other. They have to see each other. They have to be right next to each other so you can add them. The 8 is going to stay by itself because there's really no other x, and the negative 10 and 7 are just going to hang out until the very end. But that's called factoring or reverse distribution. I don't really care how you want to think of it. I think factoring is probably the more correct term, factoring in an x. I call it reverse distribution. Last step. Mr. Hassler, we've been killing it all day. Let's let somebody else do it. George, what do you got?
Substitution.
Substitution. All right. So what are the numbers?
7W.
7W. Keep going. You're gonna roll.
8x.
8x. Good. Keep going.
Negative 3.
Ah, nice. All right. And that was substitution. Okay. Yeah. Negative 3. Make sure of that. Make sure you're putting the negative. Because it's negative 10 and a 7, that doesn't have a negative number. All right, very nice. Do you see it took 3 steps? Now, what I was noticing yesterday when you guys were going around the room and you were trying out some problems, the most common mistake that I saw people were making, they were forgetting to factor out the w. They were trying to split like the w's and the numbers in the back as 2 separate steps. You're going too far. If you're doing substitution, that's when you're adding or subtracting, random numbers together, multiplying, dividing random numbers together. So the 4 and the 3 and the negative 10 and the 7, you wait to do that all at once. Remember, this is just a minimum. It doesn't have to be 3 steps. You could do it in 4. It's just, I'm giving you like the bare minimum you have to do. Question?
Does it have to be in that order?
if you're doing a problem like this, it does have to be in that order. Now, there's some problems that you're gonna see that you might not have to do commutative. Maybe they're already next to each other, so you'd only have to factor in the sub. But yeah, so usually if it's like that problem, that's usually the steps, like in that particular order. Yeah, that's a good question, because it really depends on like how the problem is written, really. Yeah, that's good. It just kind of blew my mind a little bit. Just think about that. Yeah, it just depends on the problem. But yeah, if it was a normal problem, that's what I would expect. Yeah, good question. That's a really good question. All right, number 3. This is one we haven't seen yet. Why put number 3 in your little sheet here? It's mixing everything we've been doing the last 2 days in here. Like if you didn't realize, yesterday, like there was when you were going around those little pods and those little groups, and I was switching around a little bit, there was only 2 types of problems you were doing. That was one of them. You commutated, you did factoring, you did sub, right? The other type of problem was a distribution problem. It was like problem number 1 up top. Number 3 mixes it all together. So now, if I'm mixing both of these together, how many steps should this problem take?
6.
6, because it takes 3 lines to do distribution, 3 lines to do the thing where you add up the like terms. So this is like, the idea is like, that's why I was trying to break it down for you, that if you can go in chunks, and you have that really, really good, like you had that setup, that you know how to do distribution, you know those 3 steps, and you know how to do commutative steps, right, 3 steps. When you mix them together, it's 6 steps total, because it's going to go 3 and 3. So they go in the same order that we did. So what you're going to see is at the halfway point of this problem is going to mimic problem number 1 that we did on Monday. But the second half of this problem will be those 3 steps in that exact order. It'll be commutative, factoring, sub at the very end, the last 3 steps. Okay, questions at all about that one? Now there's slightly a different property in this one because I don't have a 1 in front of the x. I know it's tedious, but there is missing a number from the x, so you have to add it in there. But you have to multiply the 1 in, so it's multi-identity. But all of the other factors are normal. Okay, let me scroll down. In fact, I might scroll down to a point where I can just keep these 3 properties at the very bottom. That'd be kind of nice if I could do that. Let's see if I can. Oh, they're at the top of the folder, aren't they? I can't scroll that far. All right, number 3. Should give me the next amount of room that I need. All right. Okay, so number 3. Let's distribute first. Let's do that first. This is the distribution of 3 steps that we did up above on number 1. So now I did warn you there's an extra property in here. It's a multi-identity. I added the 1 there, so it's a multiplicative identity when you multiply by 1. The reason I had to do that, I need a number in front of the x. So if you put that in there right in the beginning, you could do that later before you actually had to multiply to 2. But at some point we had to do a multi-identity. It had to be there. One of those rare properties. That is not a normal step. I'm missing a number from the x. Okay, was there a question though?
Do you have to put the 1 in front of the x?
Yes. Yeah, because we eventually do have to multiply the 2 on a number that's in front of it. So we do need a number. Yeah. Good question. All right. Let's go through the steps. Distribution. So, how do I distribute correctly? Because we can do this over both parentheses, the front and the back. So, walk me through it.
You can do 5.
Yep, 5.
And then 6x in parentheses.
Good, yeah. That's exactly right. So if you didn't see that, he's putting the 5 and then the 6x has to go in the parentheses. That's absolutely correct. You have to do that, and you're going to do it for each one. So now the 9 will be the next number that's in the parentheses. So the 5 goes to both of those. Yeah, does that make sense? Now, I'm going to also do that for the back parenthesis. I'm going to distribute the -2. So -2 will go to the 1x, and the -2 will go to the 3. Notice, I'm distributing the negative. That really gets people. The -2 is going to both. That is a -2. And that was distribution. So, like on problem number 1 up above, same as first step. You distribute the number to whatever numbers are inside the parenthesis. Notice if I didn't go all the way across the problem, I just went to the first parenthesis. All right, step 2, the one that most people forget. So,
Moving the 5 inside the parentheses and the x out.
yeah, we have to move those parentheses so that the numbers can actually see each other. So you're absolutely right. The 5 goes inside the parenthesis, the x goes outside the parenthesis. The 5 goes inside the parenthesis with the 9. The 2 goes inside the parenthesis with the 1. And the 2 goes inside the parenthesis with the 3. Now, what property name is that?
Associative.
Associative, nice. It's associative. It's not factoring, it's not anything like that. Associative is when you merely move the parenthesis bars. Factoring is when you pull the x out. I'm just moving the parenthesis bars. The parentheses were there, I just moved the bars to go around 2 different objects. They were already previously there. That's associative. Last step on distribution, we have to sub. What are my answers? So when you rattle off those numbers, what do we get?
30x plus 45 minus 2x minus 6.
Minus 2x plus 6, or minus 6. Yep. Minus 6. Alright, and that's substitution. We're doing a simple arithmetic. Now, there's a slightly different property in the middle of that. It is substitution, don't get me wrong. There's one slight property change in the middle there. What's 2 times 1's property? It's not substitution, 2 times 1. We said it earlier.
Multi-identity.
It's multi-identity. You multiplied by 1, that's a multi-identity. So technically this one does have another property there. That is very rare that you'd ever have that. I'm putting in there because you are multiplying by 1 when you did the 2 times 1. So that is a different property name. I know that it looks like random arithmetic. Look, it looks like you're just randomly multiplying numbers or adding numbers, right? But 1 is a special number. So if you use a 1 like multiplying by it, that's a property name. Okay, now, we're not done yet. Don't get me wrong. That's the first 3 steps. The first 3. The next 3 are exactly the steps you did up above on number 2. So, now look up above. Look at number 1. Were these the first 3 steps of number 1? Exactly, like line for line. Number 2 steps, commutative, factoring, sub, right? That was problem number 2 we just did a little bit ago. That's your next 3. I said it was like half and half. That's how you do every single problem as long as the setup is correct. Like where they have like the items that we have here. So we're going to do commutative to move things around. Now, how do you guys want to organize this? I don't know how you prefer it. What do you want to group? Where do you want to put them?
The X is in the front.
Okay, so that's a preference, okay? So X is out front. The 45 and the negative 6 in the back, right? I'm good with that. Because everyone kind of goes off their own. That's good, commutative. Now we have to factor, right? Because that's the second property of doing these problems. So let's factor out the X. So 30 minus 2. It's factoring, or reverse distribution, however you like to say it. Last step, final answer. What do we get?
28x plus 39.
Boom, 28x plus 39. That's, this is the reason behind my madness this week, where I want you to practice over and over and over one type of property. Like just practice commutative, just practice distributive. And we just did a ton of that for the last 2 days. Because if you understand how those properties work, the 3 lines and 3 lines, you can mix them together to make a bigger problem. Because that's every single expression in this world. These are the orders we go in. You distribute, you associate, you sub, then if you need to move things around and add like terms, you commutative, factor, and sub. The only time that commutative or factoring would be different, maybe that there's no x's. Maybe there's just, you had a bunch of numbers you were grouping together. That does, I don't know if we'd have that in this class, but that's the idea. All right, so here's our little activity today. I want to kind of do a little activity where we move around, because we're going to get homework tomorrow. So I said you need some form of books, so we're going to look at some property names today. But I'm going to do a little handout. That little worksheet thing that you have, that little handout, put that away for right now. We're going to come back to that later. I said we're kind of working on that throughout the week. All right, so everyone's going to get this. This is going to be, it's going to be a part of our whole activity today, it's a little handout. Hopefully you put the other one away that we just did a little bit ago. 2.61. Okay, put your name on it, put your name on it. All right. Your name. All right, so we'll kind of group together. So, okay, what we'll have is we'll have Alex, who join the gentleman over here. George, we'll have you go over here with Asia. So, perfect. That way you guys are in a little group. All right, I'm gonna give your group one single problem to do on this page. Does that make sense? You get one problem to work on, that's it, one. Okay? All right, you guys have problem number 9. Problem number 9, that's the only problem you have to do right now. You can work together, work on it, get the property names, problem number 9. Okay, you guys have problem number 7. 7, work together, you have problem number 7. Okay. You guys have problem number 2. Work together, problem number 2 only. You guys have problem number 1. Number 1, just work on that, only number 1. All right, in your groups, on your problem, make sure the problem I assigned you, put a box around that number. Put a box around it right now. That, because I want you to remember that's the first problem we started with today. Okay. Make sure you're showing all the properties, all the steps. Okay. Some of these are longer than what we've done previously this week, so hopefully you're looking at the notes I did on the board today to help you out with it. Okay, when your group gets finished, complete, done, I want to double check your answers in your group. The entire group needs to know what's going on. It can't be just one person kind of going, I don't know what you did. Okay, so make sure everyone's on the same page, everyone has the same property names, same steps. I do want to check it. These are a little bit longer than what we did yesterday. That's why I'm only assigning you one right now. I'm not getting all these, this will take forever. Okay, when you're complete, done, finished, let me know. I want your group to raise your hand. I'm going to double check. It's part of our activity today. See how well we can do.
You don't get rid of it, you put it over here, right? Okay, but I still don't know over.
Yeah. When your group is finished, complete, done, I want to double check your answers, make sure that we are correct.
Why don't you do it on this side, don't pay for this, and then.
So let's make sure that, so we have stream 10 through, then you switch constitutes associate, you sub,
Substitution.
good.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put it down. The ending one has to be
I'm gonna send too many steps here.
Yes. Why don't you change that
Back,
ending?
yeah, you kind of did too many steps, because you haven't moved them together.
Actually,
Then we, you move them together, then you back, yeah, so make sure the one's in the back, wait, make that A plus 1, so now we put A plus 1. Okay. Alright, so that's good job, gentlemen. Alright, Okay. Whoa, you're messing way too many steps. Okay, good. You just made me nervous. Alright. How about that? Alright, so these three associated stuff. There's that. Yeah. And then you factor stuff.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be correct.
Okay, good.
Order was mine, that's what now we have to make corrections. Yeah.
Okay. Are we good? Is everyone have it? We need more time. Remember, your group needs to be all in the same understanding of how to do it.
Right here, and how to try to understand, right, that like that. So that it makes sense. No, but there would be two substitutions in a row.
No, not guilty.
Sub. Yeah, you should have a sub right up.
He asked that yesterday. He looked
Then,
What's it called when you move things around?
you do multi.
We'll see.
Are they in parentheses or not?
Those two interested in
And then the last step, you forgot to put.
Oh, it was agree.
Oh, no, you should be fine. No, you didn't have to.
No, I think you're right. No, this one.
So it's just substitution. So yeah, you're fine. You're good.
No, because on this one, that's where we moved
Yeah,
that.
yours is unique.
That's what it is.
I almost told you the wrong time.
All this cold.
Is that right?
Okay. Can I see it? Distribution. I agree.
Then we can do
No. Association. You have to move the parentheses.
You said put a box or. Way too many.
We're going to the box to then. You did the math, so let's do the math. No, not quite. Just doing the simple math is, 7.
He didn't say only around
We did like the 6 one.
I have that.
What is it, 5?
Yeah.
I've been writing in pens for like 3 or 4 years now.
Okay,
And
then,
I
what is it when you?
Wait, cyber's probably a big
Can't get those numbers next to each other.
Maybe like 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
I was like,
And it looks like you don't have to factor out any x's because there's only one x in this problem. But you had to, you moved the x's and then you did math again. So what is it when you just do some order?
I think you're good to go. I spent 20 months on a whole pack of these.
So you guys only have one slide, so not bad. Now, what is not the problem is that you didn't have.
They're so, I thought that was maybe not because I have like regular, like regular, like.
Okay, I think everyone's got them. All right, so here's what I want. Okay? All right, group number 1. Where's prop number 1's group? Okay. All right, so you guys are gonna be me today. Okay? All right. So here's how it works. All the other groups. So my 3 other groups are in the room. You're going to try problem number 1 right now, please. So every other group try problem number 1 right now. You guys are me. You're gonna walk around the room and check how people are doing. Okay? I'm gonna give you a pen.
I got it. What number are we on?
You get one of these. You start it when they get it right.
Does it have to be red?
It has to be right before you start. So take your papers with you.
Just saying technically.
Oh.
Box around
Now. Okay.
Box around there.
Alright. So, alright. Take,
Just stay on paper with.
take your papers with you. You have 3 regional experts. I have checked their work. They are correct. If you have a question, you're directing it to them. They are the experts today. Once you get it right, they are going to star your paper.
You're gonna get. I don't know what the.
Mom's going to. Do we have to?
You can kind of wait. Remember, you don't need to help them until they're done, so you can kind of wait them out. If anyone has a question, they're your people.
Negative 32.
Hold on, okay, would that be plus keep on moving the negative inside of here? The negative is straight out. and the plus
That's what I meant.
Yeah, there is 16. Oh my gosh.
I Everybody going down here?
Everyone's face.
How are you today?
Bye.
Fabulous. You actually.
Can I like actually work?
Yeah. Absolutely. You're doing well. You're doing good so far. I'll go over here. This will be good.
I know I'm right, check it.
The last step supposed to be. You get 5 steps?
It's supposed to be 6. You got it back to me.
Gathered here, we gotta check them all together.
You have to negative 32 plus, yeah.
So you see did you check it off? Exactly. Oh yeah, you gotta leave it. Yeah. And we're gonna put a star on the
Okay, it's a little mistake.
No, mistakes are nothing. Only perfection here. No mistakes.
Okay, what's wrong?
You got something wrong by the side.
Really?
You got something wrong by the side. Yeah, your answer then?
Yes.
Yes, because you have the negative 1.
You get sir?
Why would it be plus?
No, it is coming.
I gotta start everyone. Just start everyone.
She's always.
Start right. He's good. This guy right here. He's
Put
good.
it in there.
That's a- Yeah.
The negatives used for
That's gonna be negative
Is the
16.
right digit?
Mine is negative. They haven't started yet.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, fine, then you want me to check?
No, because if you do that, then you have to put them out, so the negatives out, so it's really good sometimes they.
Well, you got it, Joe.
Mr. Ward, check.
None.
Okay,
Whatever. Sorry.
Negative 4 is negative 16, so it'd be.
Yeah, but the negative isn't important.
She's not looking at the answer, she's looking
I'm
at
done.
the words.
We're
We're looking at the
Do I
words.
get the starting one yet?
I'll let George.
Yeah, but it's not in
Okay.
parentheses.
Yeah, before times negative 4, then negative.
I understand.
So do we handle them?
Do you really? Do.
Because you can
Got two
subtract a
negatives.
negative 16 or you can add it.
29x plus.
That's about
Okay, yeah. So it's just
And,
we can nice big star.
I like the
you know, if you're getting a word, you have to fill
Your turn.
out. I'm done before you.
You know, I don't care.
I'm sorry that I'm not good. I'm done with words.
There you go, you're good.
I actually got them for the start.
So can you start it?
You didn't even look at
Did he get the right answer?
Look at mine, yeah.
You did, good job. You didn't make a mistake. You're good now, you're perfection. Welcome to my team.
Okay, once you are starred, and is everyone starting now?
Did you even
Oh,
I'm looking?
I did the entire group here. They all got it right. Good job.
Yeah, I'll take those pens back. They're all done. Are they still?
I'm still
He's
working.
Yeah, you keep working.
Don't rush it, it's okay.
fine.
Mistakes are accepted
I do know.
at a church, but not
Well,
in
you know, that's
another.
the thing I thought.
No mistakes. That's why I'm here. So I shouldn't be.
Negative
This is that's what
36
mistakes
plus 3 is 9.
But I will not.
Where do you have 36?
Like it was.
It's 32 you
Oh,
have.
you're right. You have to use it.
Sounds like you're taking a test.
That's the only thing. I'm great with that.
Mistake. Mistakes. Only perfection.
Yeah, a crap track.
Alright.
No.
No, you're not. You're off.
Wow, that's a crap.
How much off are you doing?
I know.
Well,
I'm
it's-
You gone
Okay,
those
we're
lines.
probably gonna do this after.
You had to put substitutes.
So-
Seven. Hey, you guys are gonna be
Why is
doing
it-
this next, so.
George, I'm gonna
It's
write
like
stars.
165.
For life. I wrote over there. Look at mine's Christmas
You
color.
three.
Stop making.
Okay, are they all
I'm not
good?
making fun of you, it just looks
Okay.
too close together.
All right, group 1, I'll take your markers back, please.
But
Oh, I need a star.
I will give you a nice, no, I'm gonna give you a nice calmness star.
You got it.
Yes.
Yeah, good. All right, I'll take those. Thank you. All right. Next problem in the room is problem number 7. This is your probably the last problem of the day. Okay, so problem number 7. Okay. Wait a minute. But if you have a question, we have some regional experts here that will help you out with your problem. It's unique, like the first one. You guys figure out in the first one that, you know, the steps may not have to be exactly 6 sometimes. The problems could look a little bit different. This one is one of those rare cases. It may not be exactly 6 steps. So you're gonna have to try to pay attention.
Distribute, I spelled distribute.
Why didn't block that? Well, some people said it did. Actually, so you can pull the courses, you can't use it in class. No, she did. She made some of it in class. I think. I said, we don't. Well studied.
Okay. If you get it complete, unfinished, you have your experts. They're going to walk around there and check off your answers, see if you're right or if you're wrong. The infamous red pen, they'll help you out. They'll point at things that you need to know. This is a rare one. It's not the exact number of steps that we've been doing the last couple of days. This one has a rare feature in the middle of it. Alright, group 7, you want to go check? You have a couple that are finished.
Okay, you can start now.
If they're correct, you can star them. If they're wrong, make sure that you maybe point out what they can fix.
What?
That table get done?
Right in front of you? I did.
That's just the work.
I just didn't see it as quickly as you did. Well, hard. Not really. I was caught with it, and now I'm like.
What is this?
You just got it before. It's the most beautiful stuff.
You had
Oh.
closer, boy.
You're right.
Head and closer. That's
Give me a star.
Can I see?
A negative star?
I said I
Can I
sound like
have,
I'm
are
trying
like,
to.
Oh,
tiny
it
please?
gives you a negative star.
Look, I'm gonna try and press like a strip, like a small strip of it.
No, there's a check every star.
Yeah.
At
At least she's honest.
Okay, this is our probably our last problem of the day. When you are checked off
Okay, wait.
and you have 2 stars, your name needs to be on the top, and I need your paper, please.
Where? Where?
How's it going? Let's see.
We'll have 2 stars. I'm gonna have
Where are you?
Where is it?
When you're complete, finished, done, however you want to say it.
How white the looking?
Right over
You
here.
guys want
$1.
you guys are representing group.
Everyone's got paper for things.
$5.
Like the everyone had got paper.
Oh, smiling.